Just has to be better than what they've got for starters. But one of the intriguing things for me is, you mentioned the loan fee, the salary. What if it's the glass half full and it's not working from? Where does that leave Graham Potter? Is he in full control to say, right, well, you haven't played well for 4 games, you're not playing?
Right.
Where does that sit with the board who have made this decision? A small, short-term, but relatively heavy financial decision. So I think we're going to find out about the control that Graham Potter has.
Sid, meanwhile, of course, Simeone mentioned there by Don, suggestions maybe he could be going at the end of the season. I suppose this is Joao Felix's dream scenario, isn't it? Go to Chelsea, shine there, come back, new manager comes in at Atleti, off we go.
It's a natural conclusion that a lot of people have drawn, of course, is that if you do a loan deal because you're dealing with an immediate problem, it's because there's some hope that in the mid-term or the long-term that problem goes away. And now that problem can go away by Joao Felix suddenly becoming absolutely amazing every week, or it can go away by the man that he feels constrained by also departing. Now, we could be here all night discussing the various culpabilities, Joao Felix, Diego Simeone, the club itself, Jorge Mendes, the agent that brought him to the club in the first place, the way that kind of conditioned everything around him, because we shouldn't forget something. This is a guy that came in with 6 months worth of top-level experience. I think it was 26 games with Benfica, a 19-year-old for 126 million. Now, there's a problem at inception there. There's a problem from the very, very start that conditions absolutely everything. Imagine we'd had exactly these same performances from Joao Felix, but for a player who'd cost 35 or 40 million euros. We wouldn't be talking in the same terms. The degree of pressure wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't have been hurried through in the same way. We wouldn't have had that sense of the player believing that he needs to play all the time because he's a superstar in the same way. You might not have had a manager who feels kind of constrained by it in the same way. But yes, to go back to your fundamental point, I think most of us assume, and it's always slightly risky to make this assumption, that Joao Felix quite likes the idea of staying at Atletico Madrid if there is a different manager there.
Is Memphis Depay going to move then to Atleti from Barcelona to kind of fill that void left by Felix, Sid?
Well, I don't know about you, but there's a bit of me that just sort of looks at Barcelona and thinks, think really carefully about this now, OK? Think really carefully about this. The last time you allowed a striker to leave you because you didn't think you needed him and you let him go to Atletico Madrid, he won them the league. Funny enough, the time before that you allowed a striker who was getting on a bit, who you weren't sure you really needed, to go to Atletico Madrid, David Villa, he won them the league. So just be a bit careful about this. Now, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a 13 or is it a 14-point gap?
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.